Another video from Ynys in Wales. Today I'm going to visit 3 ancient monuments in this area, which is called Lligwy. The first place I'll visit is just in front of me here. It's the ruins of Lligwy Church. It was abandoned sometime in the 12th century. It's a little bit windy. I hope the sound is okay for you. It's a spectacular view behind the church here. I might go down to the beach later and get the drone up. There's actually a crypt inside this church. You can see the remains of the boundary wall of the church here. This is where the entrance was. So I guess this must have been a graveyard, but there's no grave markers here now. Well, there's a gate. I hope it's open. Yes. Very small church. I'll just show you the crypt. Okay, very small. This is what the church would have looked like. Oh, it's like a cross section of it anyway. It's actually a chapel and not a church. I was wrong about it being abandoned in the 12th century. It was built in the 12th century and it was in use until the 16th century. It would have been a whitewashed building. It's believed there was a settlement here during the Middle Ages, and this chapel is the only thing that survives from that time. This is an area that would have suffered from Viking raids. My family from my mother's side is from Ynys. I should probably do a DNA test, see if there's any Viking DNA in my blood. It's very windy. I've tried my DJI Neo drone. It was struggling a bit, but I have managed to get some shots of the chapel. Okay, the next stop is a short distance away from here. Okay, we're going further back in time for this one. Here we've got the remains of a village that dates back to the 3rd and 4th century. So there were people living here during the Roman occupation. You've got the remains of 2 roundheads and several rectangular buildings here. And they believe it dates back to the 3rd and 4th century because of what they found here during excavations over 100 years ago. They discovered coins, pottery and glass that seem to date to the Roman period. Even though the discoveries suggest the 3rd and 4th century, it's probably much older than that. They think it would have been a farming community with the people living in these roundheads, and the rectangular buildings would have been like barns and also for doing ironwork. Because it was a farming community, they think this wall would have been just to keep the animals in. Look how thick this wall is. Now I'm LT Jones, not Indiana Jones, but looking at this wall, I'd say it was originally built for defence and not to keep animals inside. I'll just pan round here slowly so you can see the whole village. Well, actually it was probably just part of a village, because they've discovered there are other structures under the soil outside of this enclosure. You've got the other roundheads here. Just check this board here to see if there's an artist impression of what the village would have looked like. Ah, yeah. There we go. So that's the roundheads that we were just looking at. And that's the other one in the top right hand corner there. There's an artist impression of one of the workshops here. Okay, we're going further back in time for the next stop. It's a Neolithic, late Neolithic period burial chamber. You can see the remains of the chapel up there. Everything's pretty close together. Now, I've been to the chapel and the village before, but I've never been to see the burial chamber before. After this, I think I'll probably go on the coastal path, get some drone footage, and if there's anybody interested, I might give you some stats from my channel for the last year. And here's the burial chamber. The capstone is believed to be one of the largest in Britain. It dates back to the late Neolithic period, so it's actually more recent than many of the other burial chambers on Ynys. See the entrance to the chamber there. Like all the burial chambers from that time, they would have been covered in an earth mound. This site was excavated in 1908, and they discovered the bones of men, women and children, and also animal bones, shells and flint implements. This one's been fenced off, but usually you can walk right up to these burial chambers. It's hard to imagine how they would have moved the capstone on top of the chamber like that. Even trying to recreate something like this today would be a monumental task. It's estimated that the capstone would weigh about 25 tons. Come down to nearby Lligwy beach, I'm the only person here. There's a little island, I'd say about a mile out to sea here, called Dillas Island, and there were so many shipwrecks here that they actually built a shelter on this tiny little island, and they stocked it with food and water. I wish it was closer to the shore, then I'd be able to get the drone to it. I said I was going to give you some stats for the channel for the last 12 months. I'm getting more views from the UK now, and judging by the comments, lots more views from Wales than I have been getting in the past. I'm getting 28% of my views from the UK, 25.6% from the United States, Australia 4.2%, Germany 3.9%, Canada 3.9%, Italy 2.4%, France 2.1%, the Netherlands 1.9%, and Brazil 1.7%, with the remaining 20-25% or so views coming from other countries. 46.8% of you are watching on the television, 30% on a mobile phone, just under 15% on a tablet, 14.5% of you are watching on a computer. It's extremely windy, but I'm going to attempt a rather risky drone flight.
At night, aligns all the shady features in all our empty worlds. Behind the scene, they're picking up the pieces of all broken hearts. But I believe in coloring the world, gotta holler to be heard in time. We can fight back, ready to go right back to the sky, to the moon, making my skyline brand new. You get my heart in trouble. Make a beat, sing a tune, giving my life this whole groove. You, get my heart.